All right, we talked to Ole Miss legend Bill Flowers about Ole Miss taking on Tulane in the college football playoff. It's just hours away. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Steven Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. And we're going to bring in Ole Miss legend Bill Flowers to talk about this playoff opportunity for Ole Miss this weekend. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen every day. And please give us a like, subscribe, and a comment on your way out and find a second listen on the network, Locked On SEC, Locked On College Football. They're all readily available to you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live bets. Bill, one thing that's interesting, FanDuel has Ole Miss at a 17.5-point favorite going into the game this weekend. I think that's a relatively good number, but I think Tulane's going to play well enough to where maybe Ole Miss can't hit that number, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think Tulane comes in and gets steamrolled like by 21 points. I think they have enough pride in themselves. I think they've got enough experience to be able to come in and keep it around 14 points. I would say 14 is where I would be happy to see Ole Miss keep it.
Yeah, and with the carrot that Ole Miss is getting of a Sugar Bowl that's going to be, that's going to be probably the most important Sugar Bowl that they've ever played in at that point, going up against the Georgia Bulldogs. There's so much pressure on this game. You have Pete Golding in his first coaching responsibility. You have Ole Miss in the playoff for the first time. There's so many things that are building up because of all of the noise that happened a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, Bill, it reminds me a little bit, just a little bit, of this is a couple of years before your time at Ole Miss, but when David Cutcliffe got to Ole Miss, had to put a staff together immediately and go play in an Independence Bowl when they just got hired.
Yeah, that was actually in '99. That was my senior year of high school. So, no, I'm very well aware of that. I would say that with the whole debacle with Lane Kiffin leaving, this is a great opportunity for Ole Miss to make an absolute exclamation point of this is who we are, and we are not a Lane Kiffin team. We are Ole Miss. This is a new era, and we're here to stay and take Tulane and crush them by at least 14 points, play sound football, and be able to come out healthy and look the 800-pound gorilla in the eye and just, put him down in New Orleans. And I think that's what these players want. These players understand that they've got the Cinderella team story. They've been left high and dry. Everybody is pulling for them. There's only two teams that aren't pulling for Ole Miss, and that is Tulane and LSU. And there's not a better situation that you want to be in as a player right now. You have everybody's support, everybody's behind you, and you've got a good road to the championship. You lost against Georgia by one drive at Georgia. You reverse the table and essentially have a home game in New Orleans. So I think Ole Miss has the perfect storybook road. And as a player, that's all you can hope for.
One thing that's interesting to me that I was thinking about is Lane Kiffin traditionally held grudges. That's what he did against players. There's like the Ulysses Bentley thing in 2024 and all of that. Who is the player from this year's team that the grudge got held against that is going to have a second chance in the playoff that he wasn't expecting to have? That is the question that I have. Is it Luke Haas? Is it Caleb Odom? Is it somebody on the offensive line that might have messed up early in the season and just disappeared from the rotation?
That will be interesting to see. And I don't know the team well enough to be able to tell you that, but I think we'll definitely be able to see if there is someone out there who does have a clean slate, who does get that opportunity.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like if Caleb Cunningham was out playing wide receiver in that game. Now, I'm not expecting Caleb Cunningham because of how deep they are at wide receiver. But if Luke Haas is on the field a little bit more, or even on the defensive side of the ball, if we start seeing Jam Brown a little bit more, like some of the favorites maybe aren't getting played as much. It'll be interesting to see how they do on the offensive line, running back, all of that. Maybe Logan Diggs plays a little bit more. Maybe Damian Taylor, maybe that's the name that gets a little bit of playing time, a little bit of a run in this game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because we all know for sure that Lane Kiffin will hold a grudge, and there are players out there that do have an opportunity to have a clean slate. And I think that's a fair question.
Yeah, because somebody, that it happened. It just happened to happen to somebody that was expected to start last year.
Right.
That's the reason everybody.
And I would think it'd be more on the offensive side, because I would think on the defensive side you have a bit more of a Pete Golding was going to do what he was going to do. So I think you're going to see more of it on the offensive side where somebody's got a clean slate.
Yeah, and it's not just Ulysses Bentley. The year before that, it was Aiden Williams. As far as everybody knows, he was playing early on in the season, had a weird false start that cost the team a drive, and did not play anymore the rest of the season in any meaningful snaps. So this has happened pretty much every single year with what's going on. All right, so whenever we come back, we're going to talk about Frank Wilson with Bill Flowers. Why are we going to talk about Frank Wilson with Bill Flowers? Because Bill Flowers knows Frank Wilson. Frank Wilson was at Ole Miss in 2005, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, he got there right when I left.
Yeah. So their paths have crossed. He was there at the beginning of the Ed Orgeron reign whenever I was in the building. So we'll talk about that hire and the staff and Pete Golding and everything that has happened recently as soon as we come back. So stick around. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets on action as it unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, and the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Player props update as soon as guys heat up. And you can bet on the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals. It even keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs absolutely nothing, but it helps keep all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the world. You already live your team every single day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com or check the link down in the show notes below to learn more. All right, so Bill, one thing's interesting. Pete Golding, he has had the best 2 weeks that he could possibly have had after what went on. His press conferences have just been a breath of fresh air. I stopped following the Lane Kiffin press conferences in 2022. Other than to find out if he said anything, because if something got dropped, then you would have to go. But for the most part, he said absolutely nothing for 3 years. Pete's the opposite. Pete kind of is an open book with all that, which I think with the staff that's come in, the way he's handling the media and everything's being built, I do think that Ole Miss as a football program is going to be a little bit more opened up whenever he gets a full run starting in the fall.
Oh, listen, I think Pete Golding is in a perfect situation. And one of the things that Cutcliffe did when he got to Ole Miss was he assembled the best football staff that he could possibly assemble. And as time went on, he did not replace the coaches with the same caliber of coaching staff that left. And I think that was pretty much part of the demise of what happened. And I think that Pete Golding is going out and doing whatever it takes to be able to assemble the best coaching staff that he can possibly surround himself with. And that's one of the things that a great coach is going to do. A great coach is going to surround himself with people that are smarter than him, people that are better recruiters than him, people that are better at, the best at what they do. That's what Nick Saban did. And that's what Pete Golding is going to do. I mean, Frank Wilson, my understanding was that Ed Ogeron, that was one of his first people that he was going to go after was Frank Wilson, because he was the kingpin of the state of Louisiana for recruiting. And to be able to pluck him and get him back at Ole Miss is a massive win.
One thing that's interesting is that, Brian Brown, who played back then, I think I saw him pick Tennessee.
B. Brown.
But got B. He said that Pete Golding has answers for answers. That's the way he described Pete. And I think one of the things that Pete is doing playing four-dimensional chess is he has seen exactly how Lane Kiffin deals with recruiting and roster building and all of that. And to the chagrin, essentially, of the state of Mississippi over the last couple of years, haven't recruited inside the state well at all. They've gotten the number one player, but not many people after that. In Louisiana, he's likely going to do the same thing. He's not going to change and become a high school recruiter overnight. So Pete Golding has gotten Frank Wilson, the godfather of New Orleans, LaDamian Washington, from North Louisiana, Austin Thomas, a general manager from Louisiana, LSU. All over the state is covered. And Pete Golding was a guy at Alabama that used to flip LSU commits on the regular. It feels like Ole Miss is about to get hot and heavy in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, you have to, you've got a radius where you have to own. And that is what he's wanting to do. He's wanting to own the radius of Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and in the Panhandle of Florida area. Like, if you can own the state of Louisiana and own the state of Mississippi, you will thrive.
Yeah.
Per capita in the NFL, Mississippi and Louisiana are always like number 1 and 2 for players that are in the NFL from those states. So just like Saban said, he never recruited a receiver when he was at LSU. All he had to do was shake a tree and a 5-star would fall out. That's what you have in the state of Louisiana. The only team that competes against the state of Louisiana in the state of Louisiana is LSU against itself. That's really it. So there's such a fertile soil ground of recruiting there, but we all know, the real finds, the real gems are in the transfer portal. It's just the way that it is. I mean, if you were to ask, say, listen, Bill, you can get 5-star high school recruits, or give me 2 5-star portal recruits. I'm going with the 2 5-star portal recruits because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they've matured. You know what you're getting. You know exactly what you're getting. You don't really know what you're getting out of high school. So to me, the real wins are going to be in the portal, and that's where Kiffin has thrived. He's he's rightfully so the portal king. So that's where I'm really intrigued to see what can we do with the portal. I mean, Ole Miss would not be where we are today if it wasn't for, offensively, two key players that are from the portal. Um, so in this day and age, the portal is really where you have to thrive. And so it is great that they've got the that fertile soil to recruit from. But one of the things it does is it gives you the ability to maintain those relationships as those guys have gone to other schools. Frank Wilson can continue those relationships. Everything that these kids have that he's built on. These kids aren't going to stay where they are. They're going to move. So I'm hoping that they will thrive in the portal.
All right, when we come back, we will talk to Bill Flowers about the game in like 72 hours away, some kind of short period of time. Ole Miss playoff football, that's coming up next, so stick around. All right, the holidays are here, and whether you're hosting family, planning the perfect gift, or just trying to keep things simple and delicious, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience straight to your door. And what makes it even better with Omaha Steaks, you always know exactly what you're getting. USD certified tender steaks, premium proteins, gourmet sides, and decadent desserts that make anyone feel appreciated. I've sent Omaha Steaks as gifts before, and the reaction is always the same. This is the best gift ever. Steaks are the perfectly aged and insanely tender. It's restaurant level at home. So stay big on gourmet gifts and holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use the code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See the site for detail. All right, so the game this weekend, we talked about it a little bit, and we're going to get some final thoughts from Bill. Listen, Ole Miss has played like one game in 4 or 5 weeks, some sort of a long period of time. We talked with you about a bye week. This is like a bye week on steroids. So it's for a little bit of a slow start coming out of there with all the turmoil and everything else that happened. The good news is for Ole Miss, in my opinion, not really any chance for the defense, change for the defense, and you can put your boots in the ground, and as long as you prevent them from scoring, you can let the offense come along whenever they come along.
Well, the other team's on a bye too. So Tulane comes in on a bye, so it's not like a regular season bye where one team has got its momentum and the other team's got to kind of kickstart itself back up. So I think that kind of nullifies where you are. I think it plays to Ole Miss's advantage heavily against Georgia, heavily. But from this game, I think it's going to be one in the trenches. You're going to establish the run game. You're going to pound it. You're going to be physical. You're going to show the Tulanes, and it'll be interesting to see about James Madison. Can they hold up physically in the trenches where Ole Miss says, we are going to just beat you up physically and then continue to put the ball in the air and just surgically take you apart offensively. Defensively, getting pressure. That's the one thing that I really want to see is Pete Golding really putting his ears back and just putting pressure, not allowing them to throw, keep the run down, but be aggressive and get ready for Georgia by just playing a really aggressive defensive style that is fun to watch.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how it plays out because, listen, Ole Miss has the better offensive line and the better defensive line in this game. They should dominate the trenches. And then when you look at it, Kejuan Lacey, when they played the first time, that's not the Kejuan Lacey that's right now. That's a different running back. as well. And Tulane's defense is south of 100, right about 100 in passing yards. Whenever you look at that, you're like, if Ole Miss can just not turn the ball over and do stupid things and special teams and all of that stuff, they should win this game pretty handily.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. All right. So, Bill, what do you got going on this weekend, bub?
I'm going to be in Oxford. It was my birthday yesterday, so it's kind of my birthday gift from the family to let me go to Oxford for the weekend.
Where will you be sitting?
I'll be sitting
in case any loomers want to stop by and say hi.
I think section S10.
Section S10. You can check out Bill Flowers and stuff. So at the game, driving over, is it just you or other family members?
I've got 2 buddies coming with me.
Okay. Are they former player buddies?
No, just good Ole Miss hearted buddies. And gonna try to show them a good time in Oxford. I'm gonna take my daughter to the Sugar Bowl if we win, which that's the plan. So it's her birthday in January, and she's already bribed me, or I guess not bribing me, but essentially saying, yeah, in order for me to go with you, you got to buy me this and that. So I got to, she's about to turn 14 years old, and dad's got to figure out whatever it takes to spend time with their daughters. So I'm pulling for Ole Miss so I can spend time with my daughter in the Sugar Bowl.
There you go. Bill Flowers with an ulterior motive for beating Tulane is spending some time with his daughter. It's pretty cool to see this playoff run and to win in advance, because normally, like for you, whenever you were playing against Nebraska in the Independence Bowl or that, it was like, okay, we got to play this game and then we're done. And this is a situation where it feels like a bowl game. You're playing in the end of December, but if you win, you get to play again, which is
exactly
a weird feeling. Yeah. So,
and I think the players are really excited about it. They've never, this is like NCAA. They've always wanted it, and now they get their chance, like the NCAA tournament. So now they get their chance.
Yeah. Listen, the players are unbelievably jacked up. If you want to talk about energy at practice, they're sky high, as you would imagine. And the school feels like it's going all out for this game. There's Trace Atkins is going to sing the national anthem, the country music star. They're going to have a drone show, a helicopter flyover, a laser show. And I even think they're doing something with Santa hats. I was told about that. They're going all out. And honestly, they should, because
yeah, absolutely.
This is a culmination of like a long time getting to this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Bill, take care. Be safe heading over to Oxford, and we will talk to you next week, bud.
Hi, buddy. Hi, Toddy.
Hotty toddy. All right, Bill Flowers, Ole Miss legend, joining the show. Thank you for tuning in today to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Tomorrow we will have Jack Benjamin talking about the Tulane Green Wave. Ole Miss and Tulane all weekend long. It should be pretty good. Make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you can get all the latest episodes as well. We're on all the social channels, so check them out. Did Locked On Ole Miss make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our National Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and they will drop you the code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord. For those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. And on audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football or Locked On SEC. Hotty toddy, everybody. And remember, the biggest football game in the state of Mississippi is just hours away. Enjoy this, Rebel fans. We earned this. Hotty toddy, everybody.